The clones that fought in the Outer Rim were quite possibly some of the most battle-hardened soldiers the Republic had, fighting on horrid environments against foreign creatures that the Republic had little to no intel on. They were basically the first troops to land on these planets and were in the dark about everything on it. While many of these troops were tough, they were nothing compared to some of their commanders, with Bakara being brutally tough, Neo being emotionless, and the topic of today's video, Faye, being downright psychopathic. Like millions of other clones, Faye was no different, created and raised on Kamino, later adopting the nickname Faye. Faye, along with 100 other clones including Rex, Neo, Bakara, and Cody, were put into Alpha 17's specialized training program that enabled clones to develop their own unique personalities. Faye was one of a few clones that developed a very rigid and narrow view, and was one of those by-the-book kind of soldiers. This personality all throughout the war put Faye at odds with all of his Jedi superiors, as most of the time they wouldn't agree with his sometimes inhumane tactics. After the training program, Faye was chosen to lead an elite battalion that usually fought on the Outer Rim, alongside Commander Neo and Bly. As the Clone Wars was nearing an end, the clones were sieging many Outer Rim planets and finding success despite the high number of casualties. After departing from the Battle of Salkumi, Faye was paired with Jedi General Quinlan Vos, and they were sent to provide aid to the 41st Elite Corps on Kashyyyk, who were in need of reinforcements. After constant fighting, the battle had progressed to an all-out siege against the city of Kahiro. Just as the fighting was starting to become intense, Faye and Gree received Order 66. Faye and his men had the upper hand and were able to ambush the unaware Quinlan Vos. As Vos was standing on a platform of one of the Juggernaut tanks, a neighboring tank was ordered to fire on the tank Vos was on, and in turn Faye's order killed all personnel in the tank, and Vos was still able to survive and escape, although he garnered many injuries in the process. Faye didn't care about the lives of his men as long as he was able to secure the body of the Jedi he intended to kill. When Faye learned of Commander Gree's decapitation at the hands of Yoda, he was tasked with hunting down all Jedi fugitives, including Vos. Faye, more than happy to comply, assembled a small squad of clone troopers to hunt down Vos, and named them the Boogie Squad. Vos used his teachings from Master Yoda, Mace Windu, and Count Dooku to elude the Boogie Squad and ended up killing them all, with the help of a Wookiee called Chak, who saved him from certain death when one trooper was about to execute him. The only trooper that remained alive, of course, was Faye. Faye would now stop at nothing to kill the so-called traitor. After tracking down the Jedi fugitive, they were at a stalemate. This is where more of Faye's psychopathic tendencies kicked in. He shouted to Vos, who at the time was hiding in the trees, that if he didn't come out of hiding, he would order an orbital bombardment that would kill himself, his men, and the neighboring Wookiee village. Vos had made up his mind and decided, using the last ounces of his strength, to ambush Faye and kill him. Faye, due to his quick reflexes, spotted Vos jumping out of the trees and was able to put a blaster bolt into the Jedi's chest before being killed. Using the Force, however, Vos was able to preserve his life and was saved by a smuggler who claimed to have killed Vos himself. The clones, after checking his pulse, assumed he was dead and thanked the smuggler and went off to hunt the remaining Wookiees, not knowing Vos was using a force preservation technique to save himself. Thanks to this, Vos was one of the Jedi that was able to survive Order 66, and was most likely one of the luckiest ones too.